All right, let's dive into a really fascinating high-stakes encounter that just happened up in the skies near North America. You know, it's one of those stories that sounds like it's been pulled straight from a Cold War thriller, but nope, this is real, and it happened just recently. So here's the headline. Russian fighter jets were spotted flying near the coast of Alaska. And of course, that immediately sparks a ton of questions, right? What were they doing up there? Was this some kind of provocation, an act of aggression? We're gonna break down exactly what went on. And that right there, that's the central question, isn't it? I mean, anytime you hear Russian jets and near America in the same sentence, your mind naturally goes to hostile intent. It's totally understandable. And that's exactly what we're going to clear up today. Okay, so let's start with the basic facts of what happened. You've got these Russian fighter jets detected, they're approaching North America, and that, as you'd expect, prompted a really swift response from NORAD. That's the North American Aerospace Defense Command. But hold on, before we go any further, there is one absolutely crucial piece of terminology we've got to get straight. Honestly, it's where most of the confusion comes from in these situations. It all boils down to a 4-letter acronym, ADIZ. And trust me, this is the key to understanding the whole thing. So what is the ADIZ? It stands for Air Defense Identification Zone. And you can think of it like a buffer zone. It's an area of international airspace, that's a key word, that extends out from a country's actual territory. And in this zone, aircraft are required to identify themselves, all for national security reasons. And this right here is the critical distinction. Sovereign airspace, well, that is US territory. An uninvited plane flying in there, that's a serious intrusion. But the ADIZ, that's international airspace that's just being monitored. They are absolutely not the same thing. Okay, so now that we've cleared that up, let's circle back to that big question. Did these Russian jets actually enter sovereign US airspace? And the answer is a very clear no. Simple as that. The jets were operating inside the Alaskan ADIZ for sure, but they never ever crossed that line into sovereign US territory. So this was not a territorial violation. And look, this isn't just my interpretation. NORAD itself came out and confirmed it. They put out a statement saying the Russian fighter jets remained in international airspace for the entire time. So you might be wondering, okay, if they weren't actually in US airspace, why scramble our own fighter jets? Well, the answer is that what we all saw was a picture-perfect example of standard operating procedure for NORAD. Yeah, this whole thing involved a formation of 4 Russian aircraft, and just their presence there is what kicks off a very specific, carefully planned, multi-stage response. And this response was totally methodical. So first step, detection. The planes enter the ADIZ, bam, they're on the radar. Next, NORAD scrambles its own jets to go up and intercept. They then monitored the Russian aircraft for about 15 minutes or so, and finally, they professionally escorted them right out of the zone. It's a very controlled, very routine procedure. You know, from the moment they were detected to the moment it was all over, the entire operation took about 3 hours. It's really a testament to the constant 24/7 vigilance NORAD maintains. All right, so if it wasn't an attack, and it wasn't an illegal intrusion, then what was it? This is where we shift from the what happened to the why, because these encounters are almost always a game of signals between global powers. Even though this all went down in international airspace, an event like this absolutely has meaning. For one, it highlights the ongoing geopolitical tensions. It also serves as a kind of test of response times, you know? And it's a very clear reminder that in today's world, you need constant vigilance. And it's really important to get this. This is not a one-off event, not at all. Flights like this have happened before, and they'll probably happen again. They're all part of a larger ongoing pattern of, well, strategic posturing between nations.
Okay, so let's boil this all down. What are the absolute key takeaways you should remember from this whole incident?
Let's do a quick fire summary. So, question 1, where did it happen? Answer, the Alaskan ADIZ, which is international airspace. What was the response? A totally standard NORAD interception and escort. How long did it all last? About 3 hours. And the big one, was it a direct threat? No, but it was definitely a geopolitical signal. And that really leaves us with the final big picture question. You see, while these flights might be considered routine from a military operations standpoint, they are almost never without meaning. So you have to ask yourself, was this just a standard training flight, or was it a carefully calculated strategic message being sent across the globe? That's the real question to think about.